Hi, this is Clara Rose, and you are watching Influence Matters, the show where each week I share tips, tricks, tools, hacks, resources, whatever you want to call them, to help people just like you to strategically and intentionally cultivate their influence. Of course, I have to start each week by saying thank you to our sponsor, Rosedale Publishing. So each week, they help us to bring this show to you, and they specialize in business books for professionals and entrepreneurs. So special thank you to them. And then, of course, a shout out to the Tampa Bay Multimedia team and WeBeam TV for making this show possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So you all know that every week we start with a question from the audience, people just like you who have sent in a question for us to answer live on the air. So I would like to encourage you right now, because they're slowing down a little bit, to send them in. You can send your questions to hello@clararose.com, and maybe yours will be answered on the air as well. All right, so let's get started, shall we? Okay, our viewer question of the week. Oh, what? No question of the week, but why, you might say? Well, we don't have a question of the week today because I have something else happening that I'm super excited about. So we're going to get started with not the question of the week, but with something different. First of all, some of you may or may not know, but I'm going to share with you what I do for my business. So what I do aside from hosting this amazing show, Influence Matters. So I have a business called Intentional Influence. And I'm going to share just a little bit about what I do because it's going to be relevant to today. So I'm a literary consultant and an editor, and I help people to write, speak, and lead to cultivate their influence, which shouldn't be a surprise since my show is all about that. So as the CEO of Intentional Influence, I help people to cultivate influence. I'm also the chief editor at Rosedale Publishing, and I am the founder of Influence University. So that is an online program where I help people to write, speak, and lead because influence matters. Now, a few years ago, prior to launching Intentional Influence, I just did consulting. So for a lot of years, probably more than I'm going to share with you, but many years, I just did business development consulting. So what does that mean? Well, business development is just helping people grow businesses. And I actually just specialized in the new startup. Somebody who wanted to start a business, perhaps, you know, a chiropractor or a therapist, or somebody who they had a skill that they wanted to open a business with, but they didn't have the business basics, the stuff that you need to actually run a business, aside from just whatever it is that your specialty is. And that happened to be something that I was really good at. So opening my very first business when I was 18, which was a really long time ago, and then many businesses since then, just gave me a comfort level in helping people start from scratch. So for a lot of years, I helped people have a dream that we brought to fruition by developing and launching their new business. So I tell you all of that because it's going to be relevant to our topic today. So that is what I do with my time, helping people with their business. Of course, now I'm mainly focusing on influence and how to build it intentionally, right? That's why we're here, Influence Matters. I help people to create their book, get it out of their head So if you have a book stuck in your head, I have a process to help get it out of your head and get it published. Or if you've ever dreamed of stepping onto a stage and speaking, I have a process to help you with that as well. So all of that knowledge that you have about me and what I do now is relevant to my special guest today. So let me tell you about her really quickly, and we're going to bring her on. So my guest is Debbie Clement-Large, and she is actually also co-author of my new book. You know, I've been talking about that for a few weeks. She is a life and leadership coach located in the UK, and she is a wonderful lady who helps people to live and work in a wholehearted way. And so I'd like for you to give a warm welcome to my good friend and co-author, Debbie Clement-Large. Are you with us?
Hey, Clara.
Hello.
Oh, it's so good to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
I don't see you yet, but I hear you. Okay. Live is wonderful. Don't you love live? She'll be with us visually in 1 second. You realize that she's coming all the way across the pond from the UK, right? So we'll just work out that little hiccup. Okay. Before we can see you, just start to tell us a little bit about what it is that you do. I know what you do, but share with our audience what you do.
Okay. So I love the fact that you do work around influence, and the influence that you do is very much external influence. It's the influence you create in a room for your business. And this is why I love these conversations with you, because the influence I do is very different. So the clients that I work with, it's not around the influence that's external, it's the influence that's internal. So I don't create change in anybody. I don't work and help to influence them to have change. But what I do is create a safe space for them to influence themselves. So you might want to ask why I do that. So let me just give a bit of an understanding of where I am.
Sure.
So I'm the founder, like you said, of Why Follow the Herd, which is whyfollowtheherd.com. And it's an international and award-winning practice. And I started it in 2015. Now, why did I start it? Why was I interested in coaching? Well, it really goes right back to the time when 3 weeks to the day after my 15th birthday, my dad had a huge heart attack. He took me to school that morning, and then a few hours later, his work colleague was turning up at school telling me that my dad had passed away. Now, that was an incredibly traumatic time for me, and I lost my confidence, I lost my self-esteem. My friends didn't know what to say, so they kept their distance. My family rallied around my mum, and I didn't know how to deal with it. So when I got to the age of 19, my boyfriend at the time was into a company that made you buy a book of the month, and it was a personal development book. And I can remember sitting down and thinking, what a waste of money. Why are we buying all these books? And then one day I took a book and I started to read it. And I devoured them. I became a closet reader of personal development books. I couldn't tell anybody what I was doing. I thought they would think I was absolutely nuts. So I read book after book after book, and my self-esteem and my confidence got better and better and better. And then I thought, wow, I don't need these books anymore. So I stopped reading them. And what was really interesting is that as soon as I stopped reading them, my self-esteem and my confidence started to decline again. So I hadn't embodied the learning. I'd taken it on intellectually, but I wasn't living from that place. So I made some wrong life choices, as we can all do, and especially around my career. At the time when I was interested in psychology, the workplace the corporate organization I was working for wanted me to do some work around accountancy. So I studied for 6 years to become a chartered management accountant. And I can remember my intuition at the time saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? But intellectually, I thought it was a really super idea, and I just ignored it. But you know what? It was so right. And then I went on to have staff, and I coached them holistically. I looked after them, not just performance-wise, but I helped them through their personal issues. And then knowing I had to get out of being an accountant, an opportunity came to being a business analyst in transformation and change. And I knew that the process of change left me feeling fearful and anxious and stressed. And I knew if it was doing that to me, I could see it happening to other people too. So I started coaching corporately.
So the beginning of the coaching journey, out of being an accountant. Okay, interesting.
And because that coaching then was peer-to-peer support, I knew that there was a better way. So I started studying. I did advanced life coach training and cognitive behavior therapy and stress management and mindfulness, meditation. I'm a licensed Heal Your Life teacher. And then I've done 4 years of spiritual psychology training. And so when I'm working with clients, I mix all that together.
And what is spiritual psychology training? Just because people probably don't know what that means.
No. So there's a lot of authors that come under spiritual psychology, really. If you think of somebody like Dale Carnegie, when we've got really Wayne Dyer, he's really into spiritual psychology too, Louise Hay. And really it's about knowing you. Who are you? What do you feel you deserve? Why is life showing up the way that it's showing up? Is it showing up in a way that you want it to show up? Do you want something different out of life? How are you self-sabotaging yourself? How are your beliefs getting in the way? What can you do differently? It's all about getting to understand and know ourselves and be happier with who we are.
Interesting. And so you've studied that, but at what point did you then say, all right, I can't do this accounting thing anymore and move on to do something different? Actually launch a whole new business. Why follow the herd?
So it was really when I was working in transformation and change, and I was part of the team that was really helping and pushing through change within big organizations. And I could see the stress and the anxiety it was causing other people, and sickness levels were going up. Projects were being blocked. It was costing the organization more money, but because they didn't have a coach in place, and the little tiny bit of coaching they did have was either 4 or 6 weeks apart, and there's not enough. So I knew that there was a better way. I knew that I wanted to make a difference. I knew I wanted to be there and help people through change in the way that all the training I'd done had been there to support me. So that's really why I did the business, and really felt like I was coming home. It felt like after all those years of studying and all the wrong careers, it was completely coming back to the place in which I first started, which was personal development and psychology and understanding loving yourself. Where
you wanted to be before someone said, oh, you should be an accountant. And you went, oh, okay, that's a great idea. Right.
Yeah. But don't a lot of us do what we think we should do rather than thinking what feels right for us?
Yeah.
I can remember being in a careers talk and them telling me, oh, well, you should go and work in a bank, or you should be an admin person, or you should do this. Nobody actually really sat down and said, what are your passions? What really floats your boat? What would you love to do? Okay, well, if you love to do this, let's find a way for you to earn money doing what you love.
Right. Boy, you know what? It's just missing. I think it's missing in that part of education for the maybe seniors or junior, that age group. And I think it happens to so many of us that we hit college and we're in the wrong degree program even. Like I was pre-med. I was headed a totally different direction. And communications was really where my love is, right? That's the things that I love to do are all in communication. Writing and speaking and all those things. So I think it happens to a lot of us because we don't have good direction.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. And I see a lot of people in their 40s where they're moving from a place of ambition, where they've been proving themselves and trying to forge a career and a path and get to know who they are in the world, and reach a point and think, actually, what I thought this was going to be like really isn't. And now I want a life of meaning. Right.
I want to do something that matters to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
We don't know what we don't know at that point. All right, so in your business, you help people at the corporate level or people at the personal level?
Both.
Both.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had people that have had different types of psychotherapy, training or help, or even psychiatrist help in support, and found that those sorts of things don't really help them. They haven't got on with traditional counselling, but they've liked the approach of coaching, which is really about understanding why life is showing up now and then moving forward, and how can you create some real positive change going forward. I also work with new entrepreneurs starting out, with established directors and heads of HR. I've worked in large organizations, for small organizations, all sorts, really. And it's not about that we're lacking or somehow dysfunctional or not performing. This is about being a better version of yourself.
Right. Right. And so it just makes perfect sense that it's not just, coaching isn't just for our life, right, but our workplace. Right, because that's such a big part of our life.
Absolutely. And the coaching really covers different areas. It covers health. It covers relationships, relationship with yourself and relationship with other people. It covers financial prosperity and how you feel about money. And it covers work, what we do. And then as well, it really helps to deal with change. So we've got different types of change. We've got death of other people, or, you know, our own health and loss of health with ourselves. We've got other people that are maybe have died or passed away, and we're dealing with the grief and the emotions with that, but also dealing with change, loss of a job, loss of income, loss of a partner, loss of a relationship, whether that could be a work-based relationship. So yeah, understanding all those emotions and how we can look after ourselves and nurture and support ourselves through that process.
So it sounds like a big part of it is mindset, right? Working with what's going on between your ears, right?
Yeah, I think everything I do is around attitudinal healing.
Okay.
It's understanding your attitude. Life is like a mirror. What's going on outside of ourselves is a reflection of what's going on inside. So there's a really wonderful story that I've heard somebody else talk, that if I had an orange in my hand and I gave that orange a massive squeeze, and I'd say to you, what's going to come out of it? And you'd say, well, orange juice. Yeah. And you'd say, how do I? And I'd say, how do you know? And you'd say, that's what's inside. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'd say, yeah, you're absolutely right. You don't get pineapple juice. You don't get milk. So it was a bit like us. When we have pressure on us, those emotions, that resentment, that anger, that worry, that anxiety, that stress are all the things that are going on within us.
Right. And when we get squeezed.
Yeah, and those are the things that we can heal.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so I don't want to run out of time, so I want to get onto the rest, but super fascinating. I love what you do. I think there's just value to anybody, period, but definitely to the new entrepreneur, the new business owner, which of course is what we're here to talk about today. So let's talk quickly about how we met. Would you like to share the story of how we met?
I would, yes. Well, I've been in mastermind groups before, and there reached a time where I thought I wasn't in a group, and I'd really like to be, because I knew there was always such value in getting together and sharing. So I thought, you've got to have a common denominator. Why do a group of people would want to get together? So one of the important things I use is my course platform. So I have all different courses as well as doing coaching. And the course platform I use, I thought, well, actually, there's a lot of people out there that use that course platform too. That would be really valuable if we could get together.
Yep.
So I did some research and had an ask around what groups are there out there. And there were a lot of paid groups. And I thought, do you know what? I don't want to have a paid group. I want a collaborative group. I want a group not just where I'm going to show up and want value. I want to be of service. I want to give back and help other people as well as learn. So I thought, you know, I'll set up my own one. So I put some messages out there, as you know, and said, I'm going to set up a mastermind group. Who's interested? So we started off with about 23 people that were interested in time zones across the world. And now we're down to a regular group of 7 of us that all meet every week. We show up, we share, we help each other out, we have a giggle. It's just a wonderful, wonderful place.
Yeah. So we all use Kajabi as a platform for our digital products.
Yes.
So that's our common denominator. And it was a wonderful idea. And we actually migrated out of the Facebook group and are now using Zoom because it's just so convenient for us to use. And we're all home anyway, or we're starting to come out now. But so it was a great way for us just all connect and have a common denominator. Say, all right, how are we using our Kajabi? What are we doing? What value, can we bring each other in our businesses, even though they're quite diverse? Right? I'm helping people write books. You're helping people with, mindset and leadership and life coaching, and other people are doing just varied other things. We have a marketer, but it's been an amazing group of people who just come every week and give value. It doesn't cost us anything but our time and our willingness to give value to each other. It's just been a really wonderful journey, really wonderful. And I'm grateful that you started it because it has brought us some really cool stuff. So that is, we actually have it in our book that we have coming out pretty quickly. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But why the book? Why the book? Why did we decide to write the book?
Ooh, well, I loved having a conversation with you. And we had a few conversations as the two of us. And I thought, actually, it would be really fun to have a project. And I have been the biggest lover of books all my life. And I started writing young adult fiction about 15 years ago, and I wrote 6 books. They were really just for pleasure, although I did send one out and I nearly got a book deal from 2 different publishers, which was good. But I knew somehow that wasn't the right genre for me. So when I did all the spiritual psychology training, I knew that this was the right path for me. I just needed to get the right idea. And I just think it was really exciting working with you and being a new entrepreneur myself. I'm only 5 years in. I've been corporate for a long time. It was really interesting and scary making that leap. The amount of skills I've learned, the amount of people I've connected with, it's been a huge learning journey. And I wish I'd had a book like ours when I started out.
Right. Me too. I was only 18 when I started my first business. So it was a very long time ago. But I've had multiple businesses over the years, and I've just learned so much along the way. And then when you start teaching others, you really learn. That's when you really dig in deep and learn some stuff. So I really had developed this 12 steps, which is not the right term for it, 12 modules, 12 pieces, whatever you want to call it, to starting a business, launching a business. And when Debbie and I started talking about, it actually started as, let's do an audiobook together. And then I said, hey, let's use this 12 module or program that I've created for entrepreneurs. I've been using it for one-on-one with them for years, never made it digital. Let's do something around that. So we decided to write our book around those 12 steps. And we actually, it sounds overwhelming for most people, we condensed it down into 8 things, 8 inspired business matters, 8 ways or 8 things that matter when you're starting a business, and we wrote our book around that. So we are super excited to have just finished the final pieces of it. We're in process of publishing right now, so any day, we say that every day, any moment, this is going to be ready to fly. So we're just working out the differences. Of course, we mentioned that Debbie's in the UK and I am in the US. So there were some hurdles we didn't know to expect in the publishing world because we are in different countries, and with royalties and rights and all those things, we had to work through some of those pieces. But I'm super excited to say that we have that piece just about done, and our next step will be the ebook that goes with it. And then, of course, we are going to do the audio, since that's where we started. I think there's value in that. And then we actually made a couple of decisions to move on from that. We decided, you know what, I think we need a companion workbook. So that'll be next down the pike for us. And then, of course, the perfect companion for Debbie based on what she does is a journal. So she'll be offering a journal, and then ultimately we will have a course based around it as well. So before we run out of time, really quickly, we want to share with you how you get your hands on something really cool. We call it our business startup checklist. And this is just to help us celebrate the launch of our book that's happening in the next couple of weeks. We've created a limited edition copy of our business startup checklist. You can get a copy for yourself at its inspiredbusinessmatters.com. Just hop over there, download, pop in your email, download yourself a copy of that, and then we will also let you know by email when the book is ready. We're thinking the 10th is publish date, but we will keep you posted. But don't miss this particular freebie. This is a great step-by-step checklist to help you get started if you're looking to launch a new business. Okay, we are just about out of time. Thank you for spending this time with us today. I appreciate it. I know it's nighttime where you are. It's not over here. But thank you for giving up some of your family time in the evening to be with us and talk about what you do and our exciting new book that is coming out. Coming soon, I'm saying, coming soon. It is 8 Ways to Mind Your Own Business. So hop on over and get your free checklist, and we'll keep you posted on when that comes out. Thank you for being with me today. I certainly appreciate your time, and I look forward to chatting. We'll chat again soon as our published date is live.
I'm super excited. Thank you for having me today.
It was my pleasure. See you later, my friend.
See you later.
Thank you guys for being with me today, or being with us today. I appreciate your time and attention as always. Don't forget to send in those questions so that we can be answering questions live for you. And then thank you for coming every week to spend this half hour with me to share tips, tricks, tools, resources, so that together we can all strategically and intentionally cultivate our influence, because we all know that influence is going to generate leads for our business, our ministry, or our cause, because influence really does matter. How we make people feel, how people react to our message really does matter. So I will see you guys next Friday, same time, same bat channel. That was corny. That's all right. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for being with me once again. I appreciate you. Stay safe out there in the world right now, my friends.